Hello and welcome back to Tricking It. Today we're going to be doing a slightly different module. Here we have the base tiled out and ready, and a lot of this build is really just going to be a selection of walls. You see I'm not using my usual colour scheme of tan and medium nougat. Instead I'm opting for a build entirely consisting of light and dark bluish grey. So while we build up these walls, let's have a talk about what scene we're representing here. So I really wanted to get as many scenes on display in my castle as possible, and this one was a little bit tricky. It's fairly pivotal to the story, introduces us to some characters and their motivations, but unfortunately it's set around 50 years before the rest of the scenes in my castle. It's going to be a really tricky one to integrate. So I decided to present it in the same way that they presented it in the movie, as a monochrome memory into which Harry falls. So this is going to be a standard dungeon module. It's on a 14x8 base, but all the colours are just going to be grey. Just building up the wall here. And as you notice, I'm putting on side walls and even walls at the front, which is unusual for my more recent builds, being as they usually only contain a back wall and the side walls are actually provided by the spaces in the castle themselves. But I really wanted this build to look quite claustrophobic and cramped. It's not a particularly large chamber in which this scene is set, and so I wanted all of the claustrophobic feel of everything being quite confined and restricted in space. See, I'm adding a couple of snot bricks onto the wall, because this isn't just going to be an empty room. We are going to be adding some details a little later. So we're going to pop one of these arches on. I've set this one quite low because I really want this module to reward investigation. You're not always going to be able to see everything that's going on just from a casual glance. This archway is going to be obstructing some of the view as well as that short side wall. So I really want you to be able to get down and get in there to see all of the stuff that's going on. So a slightly smaller viewing area than you would usually get in my builds. So this is it, mostly built up now and ready to go. Do need to pop the top on, and this will just stabilise everything. It's a couple of plate layers and the rounded top tiles that I like to use just to help my module slide in a little better. I'm going to start adding some details to the interior now. So quite a simple small table using a telescope and a plate with a couple of jumpers on top. I'm going to add a couple of these corner panels. Ideally this would be just a 1x2 version of this, but I didn't have one in my collection, so I've been using these two 1x1 corners. I'm just going to sit up on the platform, but we're just going to make use of these 4 studs on the back wall here. And that is going to provide the lid to the opened box. And when we put this table in front, get the impression of a chest with its lid open. And of course, inside that chest we have baby Aragog. I'm just going to have him skittering away out the wall to escape from the box. One more little detail to add. Going to add this flaming torch on the side to make a slight rotational error. Just going to fix that. I decided to go with the white plume to represent the flame rather than trying to do anything transparent. I might have a look at the new transparent black version just to see if it gives a better impression of flame. I quite like this white one. A bit stark, stands out from the grey background, as do the black bits of furniture and the white spider. Moving on to the minifigs. Going to start off with Tom Riddle. So the robes I'm using are the unsorted Hogwarts robes. There's just a tiny splash of colour with that pin badge on the tie, but we can't quite see it when we're on display, and the head is from one of the Rivendell statues. For Hagrid, I'm using a head that I picked up in a lot some time ago. If I can find out what figure this is from, I'll pop a picture up on the screen. And then we've got Lee Jordan hair, and to extend his legs I've just put a couple of 1x1s under his feet. Didn't want him to be much taller. And then we have, of course, Harry in his red jumper. It's from the Wizarding chess set, I believe. That appears to be the jumper he's wearing during this scene. So I'm just going to add in Hagrid. And he's up on the platform as well, just to give him a little more height without having to use a particularly bigger figure. Just makes him loom a bit higher in the frame. And down at the front, Tom's going to be pointing his wand up at Aragog. And the problem about this scene is that half of the minifigures are going to have their backs turned to us. I'll add Harry into the scene here. If we turn him in to see what's going on again, it's backs to. So we'll just turn Harry to be looking towards Tom, as he is what he's here to see. So there we go. We get down nice and low, we can really see inside that module. See Aragog, who are glows in the dark. So here's the finished scene. It looks good in the castle. All of my basement modules are in dark bluish grey and dark tan, so this one just stands out a bit more, draws the eye. Of course, having Harry there as that only colourful figure in the display draws the eye even more and brings you down to have a look and see what's going on. I'm going to be trying a separate display base idea that I've had that will work well with this module, and if things go well that will be next week's video, and if not then it will be something else. So this build, with a slight change to its dimensions, would be a nice MOC to add underneath the new Great Hall that came out in 2024 with their slide-in modules. Obviously the configuration would need to be slightly different to what I've done here, but as a slot-in module it might fill up one of those spaces if you don't want to have the troll bathroom underneath the Great Hall. It gives us a nice little extra dungeon module, and if you made it a particularly slimline version you could even fit it in where that portrait corridor is. So there are options to integrate this build into the more recent Hogwarts. So there's a build, and all that remains is to say thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please do leave us a like, and for more Hogwarts MOC builds please subscribe to Bricking It. Bye bye.